Happy Wednesday, everyone. Welcome to ATI Pro Media. At it again, looking over at the quote board. Nothing too crazy happening. As you know, we have a Fed meeting. This is the most over talked about thing ever in the history. The rates have already went down. Connor and I will talk about that in a little bit. A lot of news overnight with things happening overseas. Pagers, don't even want to get into it. Looks like scary times are getting scarier when it comes to tensions overseas. Looking at the markets today, I see some red on the quote board. I think there's a lot of people very nervous. Are we going to cut a quarter, a half, three quarters? Is it politically influenced? I've noticed some things creeping back up in the commodity world. Will it stir inflation? Light headlines day, but who knows? It's a live show. You never know what's going to break during the show. I'm in today. I'll be traveling tomorrow. I'll be hosting Cow Guy Close on RFD starting at 1 o'clock, 1 to 1:30, a live show where I just don't get to ramble on because there's a beginning, a middle, and an end. Come watch me do it and see how we do. All right, let's take it. LaSalle Street JoJo. Corn, D's corn up 3/4. Beans up 10. That was neat to watch them. I believe China was on holiday for a few days, and they came back last night and roaring. Were they roaring up 15 out of nowhere? And the beans currently up 11. Meal up little. Oil doing better, up 82. Border trade wheat up 2. KC up 3. Minneapolis struggling unchanged. Cattle down just a little bit. Feeder cattle down 40. Hogs up again. Nice little run in hogs. Take it to Wall Street, JoJo. Gold up 5. Silver down 16 cents. 2s, 5s, 10s, 30s. Those are interest rates. Interest rates going up a little bit. A lot of people jockeying in position here for that Fed move. Not only the move, but what they say after. Crude oil down 22. That's had a heck of a run. Natural gas up again, 23.40. Dow Jones down 80. NASDAQ up 30. S&P unchanged. Bitcoin down 59,000 for Bitcoin. Dr. Copper not doing much. Connor B, bring him in. Connor, a couple questions really quick. Rapid fire.
Before you do it, Tommy, I think you need to check your mic. I think we got
my
audio.
mic.
Yeah, I think you're on. I think you're coming.
I know what I did wrong. All right, everybody.
I'm wanted to jump in earlier, but I'm like, he's quoting up the markets. He sounds good enough.
I'm talking through my camera, okay, because I hit the wrong button. 3, 2, 1. How's that?
Oh, smooth as butter. Smooth as butter.
So what we had there, folks, was there's a camera in front of me, and my voice was going through that camera. That's about a $2 microphone, and this is a little bit more. Now I'm going through the mixer. Well, you got to hear the garbage can version of it. Sounds tin canny. It's so noticeable, isn't it?
It really, now that you know what you're looking for. Yeah, and now how good you sound.
So I got to tell you something real quick. We were recording with the Land Talker. We do our monthly Land Talker, and I said, we got to stop. Something's not right with your mic. And so we're going through all the things. All of a sudden, I love him, bless his heart. He goes, "Nah, it's plugged in." I go, "Let me see where it's plugged into." He lifts up the cord and it's just dangling. He goes, "It's not plugged into anything. Let's get restarted." But he was talking through his thing. All right,
let's do it.
Talking through your ears, rapid fire. Connor B drives to his the bank that closed in 1927, the building you own there. And what town is your office? Assumption, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you start where to drive to work?
Well, I live in Moequa, which is just 6 miles away. So, and a few days a week, I drop the kids off the babysitter. Some days my wife does. So interesting today, picture it like a triangle, Tommy, where I live, where my office is, and where I drop the kids off. Much more activity, right? I think soybeans have really turned. I'm seeing a lot of soybean cutting, a little bit of corn harvest as well. Not quite as much as I originally thought. I think guys are perfectly okay letting this $3 corn crop dry out in the field, but I'm seeing soybeans being cut, and I think that'll just continue to wrap up. It looks like the weather is pretty favorable in central Illinois, and so I think we could see some pretty favorable bean cutting conditions here in the next week or so.
Sounds like a plan. I think farmers will be happy. We'll go through the charts here in a second, just touch on beans and corn. I think farmers will be happy to see we're trending during harvest. So many people are trying to make themselves sound smarter than they are. Oh, the lows are in, this or that. All things that no one possibly could know. We could have China could go into Taiwan and beans could be $2 lower tonight. They wouldn't get there tonight. They'd be limit down tonight, and then they'd get there the next day. But nonetheless, if you found someone who knows where the markets are going, You found a liar, my friend. If they know, they would be trading like a hedge fund. Speaking of hedge funds, Stephen Cohn, one of the greatest hedge fund traders yesterday, packed it in. Um, Anyone who's watched the show Billions on Showtime, that show is based off of Stephen Cohn. He now owns, I want to say, the Mets. Fascinating stories. I could tell you some Stephen Cohn stories off air, but one of the greatest traders ever. He once was fined a few $1 billion and just wrote a check, paid the fine, and went on with business. So there's people who think they know, and there's a few people who know. I guess the question is, where did he get the information to really know what he knows? Watch the show Billions, and there's a lot of truths in that show. I actually know this because I have a friend who worked with him for a while. It's pretty wild. All right.
Interesting.
Then there's us trading corn futures, bean futures, options. One thing I know, volatility is low. PJ put that out this morning. C-vol coming out from the Merck low. You could see the corn range. This is a nothing burger.
Yeah. We're seeing it in the corn. I mean, I think Friday. You mentioned it. You reminded me. Friday we saw some good price action, but this week, my gosh, Tommy, are we in a 3-4 cent range? We might need to pull up the D's corn chart here later in the show. But yeah, it's evident volumes low range. Good to see beans up 11. I'm staring at Nove 25, Tommy, 1069, 1070. And so that perks my interest. I don't know about you.
You like those $11 beans, don't you? Nope, 25.
Hard not to.
Let's go through the headlines super quick. Joe, fire them up. Fed rate change, 63% chance there's a half point cut. Most overtalked thing ever in the history. That's cool. I might do a special later tonight on premium about the rate. You know, they're going to do it. They're going to talk about it, and then the market's going to continue to react all day, all night. Grains will pretty much be closed by the time this comes out. Next headline. You grab this one. Easy one's only for you.
Hezbollah pagers explode. This was a big deal. I had to read it 3 times when I did, but Hezbollah, right? They were using pagers because they were afraid the phones were going to get hacked. Turns out Israel planted them. They detonated them. Many people injured. I think 11 people killed. I don't know how many of the people killed were actually Hezbollah. Is terrorist the right word? But I don't know how many of them were actually that. So one of those headlines is just unbelievable to read, unbelievable to see. We'll see what type of ramifications we have afterwards. Tommy.
Yeah, want more color on this? I'd suggest going to Peter. Is it Zian? Peter Zian's YouTube page. Peter wakes up every day, does a video like this, holds his phone up, talks about everything. He was pointing on about Ukraine before it happened, and he was this. I do have some interesting news, and I want to thank some folks. You know who has a birthday today?
Who's that?
United States Air Force. Happy 77th birthday, U.S. Air Force. We thank all members of the U.S. Air Force, past and present, for their service and sacrifice. Keep our country safe and free. Looks like they're going to be in business for a while with all the stuff going on around the world. Thank you to all those who serve. Happy birthday to the Air Force.
I got a fun fact for you. The largest Air Force in the world? Not a trick question. It's the U.S. Air Force. Do you know the second largest Air Force in the world? The United States. No, the United States Navy.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah. When you go see the Blue Angels, those are actually that's the Navy.
Let's Fed rate decision, Tommy. I know we've talked about it. We've hit it. Is it a quarter point? Is a half point? Let's bring it down and let's talk it in terms of agriculture. Okay, what you're the U.S. farmer. What should they be rooting for? What can they expect? Right? Give us in a month, in 6 months. Is it simply we're rooting for rate cuts because we want to see our operating notes get a little more reasonable? Is there anything else that they should be looking at, that they should be rooting for?
If I was a rich farmer, I would hope they would cut 3/4 drastically and respur inflation. If they respur inflation, you'll see people come back in and buy commodities. I think we've seen a little bit of that. You think gold at all-time highs. You want that little pop in inflation. You want that, oh, the Fed had the fire out, and then it gets out of control not out of control, but it starts to smoke again. And they probably will never knee jerk. The worst thing that could happen is if they cut 3/4, cut a quarter, and then had to raise them again. That would be like a total mistake in the sense that the package. So they tend to stair step. They stair step up. They can jerk hard, but they tend to go quarter point raise, quarter, down, quarter. And if you look at the history, you'll see some big moves. I remember when Alan Greenspan said the words something exuberance, and that really rocked the markets. Jay Powell's a little more conservative. He very it's the most projected, unprojected. Like, we know there's a softball pitch coming down the middle, but for some reason, someone's calling for 100-mile-an-hour curveball or something. Like, I don't think it'll be that big of a deal, but the markets will still react. Wouldn't surprise me at all to see the Dow Jones up or down 500 at the end of the day, just because it wanted to. There is so much money out there. I listen to shows all the time. I was listening to some stuff on RFD, and there's always the pundits trying to say, like, things are so bad. Well, things aren't exactly great in agriculture right now, but boy, were they good for a long time. If you own land in agriculture and you own bins and you are, I see balance sheets all the time. My wealthy clients are way wealthier than they were 4 years ago. And that was a product of inflation. Now, the product they grow, the corn, that had inflated, started to come down, and Ukraine war created like an instant hyperinflation. And that's where, if you want to know why the bad marketing or why you're having trouble marketing or problems like that, it's coming from those bad decisions made during good times. Speaking of bad decisions made during good times, you know what's a great opportunity to do? We had 4 people get a hold of us. If you're out there and you're watching, you can go on Advanced Trading's website or ATI Pro Media's website, which is one and the same. They're linked together, and you can get a hold of us. We had 4 people get a hold of us, and they put their name, email, telephone. Myself, Connor, Joe, anyone from the ATI Pro Media team will give you a free half-hour consulting visit. We have a code. A special for ATI Pro Media. So if you're out there, you haven't subscribed, you want to try it out, call us, email us. We'll give you the code. It's a nice little package we put together, a harvest special. Connor B's idea. He said, there's a lot of people out there who have a little extra time sometimes in between rows and might want to listen to some premium content. Premium content's usually 10 to 15 minutes long. Yesterday's premium was Kurt Struber talking about what he's doing to get elevators ready. And today's premium is he flipped his hat around and said, what should farmers be doing to get ready? Obviously, we know elevators own space, right? They are in the business of storing bushels. Some farmers also own space. So we go through on the farmer side today, a farmer with space, a farmer without space, a farmer with a huge crop who's going to have to move product to town regardless of all the reasons why they didn't sell over the last 18 months. They now are out of space. And we go over those space maps, not space like Mars or anything like that, but we go over how in your area, depending on how intense harvest is, we're just not going to be able to store all the bushels all at once.
Right. Always. I love seeing that, right? When we look at basis, when we talk SIF, barge freight, right? At the end of the day, it's the market moving grain where it needs to go, right? If we see, we got our longtime listener in Luke in North Carolina, a little bit lower crop, but a lot of demand, right? We'll see grain move east. A couple of years ago when our friend Brady Huck in Kansas had that significant drought, right? The yields were very much night and day east and west of the Mississippi. We saw the grain move that way as well. So always good to see. Kurt's been doing it a long time.
Yeah. One more time. If you're out there, email us, text us, get a hold of us, info@ATI Pro Media. Call us. But the best way to get a hold of us is go to the website, hit this contact, and we'll get you that code for a couple-week trial of ATI Pro Media.
Absolutely.
Just say I'd like a free trial, and we'll give it out.
Yeah.
We've met some great people the last few days. We meet great people every day. For as much as you want to run around and say the world's a bad place, not in my world here, not in ATI Pro Media land. I meet a lot of great people every day.
I love it. Well, slow headlines. I think it's a good. Let's look at some charts. We got soybeans close to the highs, up 12. Let's see what it's doing. Okay, no 24 soybeans. As you can see, nice. We've had a nice correction from that 960 low.
Mm-hmm.
Looks like if we're looking at resistance, we're going to hit it in the, what is that, Tommy?
That's the 100-day is the green and the red is the 200. We're looking at around that 1060 level right now would be really like, oh my God, we're up to the 100-day. Do something. Boy, 1060 no beans at harvest, that would be fun. If we get to 1060, either we had some really neat demand, which I'm game for, or we really find out that it's true that some of these soybean yields are dropping. Now, I talked to a few people last night, and they were a little disappointed in yields. Time will tell. Only time will tell. And I'll tell you who's large in charge, Mother Nature. I mean,
Always.
there are people who have all the fundamentals, have all the acreage, figured in a record yield, and figured we had to go to 875 beans. We could be 1075 beans in a few weeks if these yields really are dropping. Of course, be careful where you get your information. I see some stuff out there on TikTok. I see all types of stuff. Whenever someone's having a bad situation to them, they feel like everyone's having that situation. I also texted a client not far from Bloomington last night, Bloomington, Illinois. He said, "Don't tell anybody, but I have 92 bushel beans." Of course, I got to tell everyone, right? It's secret safe with me. So that helps balance out the central Indiana farmer who said they were off by 8 bushels. And 8 bushels is a lot. If you're off by 8 bushels times 950 cash in a market that most people are undersold, that's extremely disappointing and a little bit scary. Let's look at corn real quick, my friend.
Yeah. And I want to look at Nove 25 too, Tommy.
Okay.
Before we get out of here.
Well, let's go back to Nove 25. We'll stick with the beans. Please stand by. Operators are ready for your calls. Hold on. Nove 25 it is.
Gosh, when I'm looking at that, so remind me again that green is the 100
Green's
day.
the 100 and red is the 200. And what you're so excited about is this $11 mark, which would put it like right there. That's like 1101.
I'm getting a little bit more excited. I mean, I look at the 1075. I mean, I know it's early to be looking at this, but I see price action. I like the 10. I mean, I like even before that, Tommy. Maybe I'm early in the game, but yeah, $11 mark. That'll be a big target for a lot of people.
Mm-hmm. Do you know what the word was that Greenspan had said? Irrational exuberance. Big thanks to Donnie watching up in North Dakota. God, I'm surprised he's up this early. Good job,
he pulled
Donnie.
it out of his hat. When we think of headlines, you give a title, and then I got to Google what a synonym is for that. We can't pull out irrational exuberance out the back pocket. All right, let's look at corn.
You know, that chart's not exactly bearish there, that Nove 25. Then we'll do D's 24 corn, and then we'll do D's 25. Oh, speaking of D's 25 corn, ring the bell. I think this one's the bell. That's the drums, which is like a bell. D's 25 corn hit 450. How exciting that we're talking about 450 corn yesterday. All right, let's get into it. D's 24, 100 day, 200 day, creeping on up. Looking like we're breaking out of Friday's highs a little bit. You see that? If we get up a little bit here, you could see some buy stops here shortly. And we could zip right up to 420, 425. That'd probably get some people excited to sell some bushels off the combine. What do you think?
Yeah, I think so. Definitely. And good to see. I started the show saying we're a little bit range bound corn up too. So good to see. We'll take it. It'd be nice to see some bullish price action maybe before the full brunt of harvest hits. I'd like to see that and get some stuff priced, get some stuff protected. But I can wish all I want, right?
Yeah, no, absolutely. D's 25, 451. There was 1,000 contracts offered at 450. That's definitely was an old-fashioned hedge order. Traded through that, no problem. Interested, just curious to see how much traded at 450, and then we'll convert it to bushels. D's 25, 450, 1,200 contracts. 200 contracts being a million bushels. So nice 5-6 million bushel trade, which you think in the world of corn, we grow 15 billion bushels. We're like, oh, 6-7 million traded, around 450. It's nothing. It's nothing.
Right.
But it's something that we're moving up.
When I look at that chart, I look at the 100 day, and then I go back, Tommy, to the first half of July where we really chopped around. It looks like it's that 450, 455 range, spiked up to what? 460s right there.
Yeah.
And so I look at both of those and I see an actionable level in there somewhere.
Yeah. We're going to have some people do some early hedging here in D's 25 just because they don't have crop insurance. We're going to have a lot of risk here coming in the election. Might be a good time to look at short dated options. You and I, or you and Brady, maybe you do a special tomorrow about short dated options coming into the election. If you just want to lay off risk here next 3-4 months, definitely I'd get through the January crop report. I'd try to get through, if you could do it, it's going to cost a little more money. get through that March planning intentions. And but there's different reasons to get to different parts of the race depending on what someone's worried about. But we're going the right direction slowly. Doesn't it feel like we drop a lot harder than we go up sometimes?
There's a reason the saying stair step up, elevator down, Tommy.
Right.
Absolutely. It feels like it's a free fall down, and it feels like it's climbing Everest on the way up, especially in 2024.
Yeah. Exploding markets confuse farmers. When the market goes up hard and people sell and then it explodes, it absolutely stops the farmer from selling and it creates a lot of confusion. And I blame the Ukraine war in that false sense of, it wasn't false, it was real, but for that newfound demand, right? When there was that gap to fill, it gave farmers a feeling like, between weather problems and Ukraine's out of the grain business, it's going to be like this for a long time. Lasted 2 years and then it got pretty bad. I'd say if you're having a production, we had a farmer contact us last night through the advanced trading website, told us we were crazy. He didn't say you were crazy. He's pretty much insinuated I was crazy, which if you talk to anyone I work with or my wife, they would agree.
He could have texted me. I could have told him that.
Yeah. Thank you for sending that, but we knew that. But he said Minnesota yields are 2 stars, Tommy. That's on the mic. That's on the mic, Rick. Oh, Rick, you probably just landed from your 4 connections that you took to Las Vegas, Mr. Rick.
What were you saying though? Minnesota.
Oh, 2 star. That's a demotion. If you don't understand, when we started ATI Pro Media, Mr. Rick used to give us stars and how we did, and they started with the wrong microphone. Minnesota, he says yields are bad, and he said that we got a flash drought, and he said the world's ending, at least in his little area, and he may be right. But America's a big place, and I drove through a heck of the grain belt. And I'm going to head down today. I'm going to leave Valparaiso, Indiana, and head down to Nashville. So I'll get the I-65 crop tour and shoot us a text and email, get a hold of us and ask us how things look. We'd love to know how things look by you. Tell the truth. It doesn't do much good to fib. You only probably end up hurting yourself. And by the way, I wanted for that man to say, I'll do free commission for you. No problem. I comp your commission. How many futures you buying? How many options you buying? Because if it's all not there, that means you know something the markets don't. So to that youngster, I will do that for you. No commission. Just place the order. I'll comp the commission, and I'd like to see how bullish you are.
And the fact is, he's, the average American farmer, they're very bullish, right? We always got to remember current position, because guess what? If you're 10, let's say you got 30% of this crop sold, we got 70% that you really want the market. Your long futures on 70% of that. It's always important to keep in mind.
Favorite thing to do with new clients, old clients is, they sign up the paperwork. They say they're totally scared of futures. And then I sit down, get their bushels, and I convert to futures. And I tell their wife, you're long, 72 corn futures, 12 bean futures, this many wheat futures. You just signed documents. You said you're scared to trade futures. This is your long position. Oh, that's this year. Let's look at next year. Oh, what are you holding from last year? You meet these small farmers, they're sitting around long 50, 100 futures contracts with all their crop. It's just in the cash market. And so the reason why when the markets drop as much as they did and interest rates stay as elevated as they did, they're working against you at both levels. So you're swimming upstream with a 50-mile-an-hour headwind. It's a tough go, Connor B.
Yeah, absolutely. It's such a good exercise. We talk in bushels. We're in the bushel business, but it's really good exercise. Convert it to dollars and look at the net dollars we're working with right now. I love it, Tommy.
Questions, comments? We'll get out of here.
Yep. I don't think we have any other questions.
Well, that's it. One more time, you want to get a hold of us. Yep. Go to the advanced trading website, the ATI Pro Media website. Sorry, Connor, I'm speaking over you. Go ahead.
No, you're good. You're good. Yeah. Get a hold of us. We'll see what the Fed rate decision is. Well, I'm sure we'll talk about it a little bit. You might do a premium on it, and we'll talk about it tomorrow. Quarter, half point, gun to your head, Tommy. What do you think? Quarter point cut?
Man, nothing would surprise me. I think I got to focus on getting my mic ready for the beginning show. I'm going to go with a quarter, Captain Conservative, and then Jay Powell's rhetoric will way move the market more than the initial thing. But I like surprises. Let's get a surprise going. You know why we like surprises? Because when the markets move, it's good for farmers and people who understand how to harness volatility. I definitely don't want to see deflation or stagflation. Oh, we're not done yet. Full screen on Connor B. You know who's got 2 thumbs today and going to be on Chip Flory?
Yeah, that's right. I'm doing that this afternoon for the first time. I'm excited, Tommy.
Good. Tell Chip Big Apple Joe and Davis, I said hi. What was your question, sir?
No, we'll do. No, I didn't have a question. So
Try
excited,
not to talk
excited to be
over
on
Chip like I talk over you,
it.
and you'll be okay. All right. Thanks, buddy.
Okay.
Everyone check in. Connor B, Chip Flory, AgriTalk PM. And of course, if you missed that show, we'll get it sent out to you. And of course, this show, a lot more views on Spotify and Apple. Starting to click, guy. This show's starting to click. We do this for you. 175 people watching live today. We'll have 500, 1,000 on the replay. And then we do the premium content. That's really where the education starts. So if you haven't subscribed, we'd love for you to. If you need a little trial run, get a hold of us on the website. We'll get that done today. Connor B, Assumption, Illinois, Tommy G, Valparaiso, Nashville bound, Cow Guy closed tomorrow. I'm no Connor B, but I'll try. See you, buddy.
See ya.
Thanks for joining us. We're here every day, 9 a.m. Central. Don't forget to like and subscribe. We'll see you next time.